Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I present you Scrub Zero. I don't know what people thought about with this offensive line. Outside of Glowin's, yeah, you got new personnel, but it's a new system and they're new to the team. I guess at least Glowinski, you expected better play from him than what you gotten to this point. But I don't know why people thought this line was going to what people thought this line was going to be. First of all, we've had a lot of injuries in the past few years, replacing guys at spots who probably wouldn't be starting in most situations, at least not in some of the spots they're in. We got a rookie third round pick at guard who's swapping time with a veteran guard. Well, I say veteran, but he's only been in the year for a few years. The league a few years himself in Bredesen. We got a rookie right tackle. I expect there to be growing pains with the rookies. And Feliciano's not a natural center by trade. I think he said that was his best position, but he's not a natural center by trade. I don't think we've had a natural center by trade in years, honestly. I think Richburg, but I forget if he was a natural center or if he was a guard that moved to center, but it's been a long time since we had a pure center who came in the league, didn't have to switch positions, and has been good. The guy who would be starting at center still is coming back from a leg injury. I don't know if he's even going to play this season. They've said his rehab's going good, and Nick Gates, but I don't know if he's going to play. I hope the best for him, but I'm not counting on him. Shane Lemieux was supposed to get the starting left guard spot, but I don't know how he's going to end up looking because he hasn't been able to stay healthy. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me why people thought what people expected from this line. Monday night, I mean, could they have done a better job? Yeah, you didn't expect them to get beat like that, but I mean, it wasn't surprising to me that the line was getting manhandled like they were. But even through all of that, where I got people in my comment section telling me that it's ain't on Daniel Jones, that he's been good. No, Daniel Jones has not screwed the game up. That's what he's done. I wouldn't necessarily call him good. He's had some good moments, sure, but in the first two games, really outside of the pick in the end zone and a throw that should have been a pick six to the linebacker for Carolina, prior to Monday night, those are really your only backbreaking kind of plays. Negative. Were there snaps he could have done better in those two games? Sure. But it wasn't like he wasn't playing awful. He made a few plays, but I mean, the dude hasn't had one 200 passing yard game yet. We're 3 games in. So now he made some plays Monday night. I will give him that. He made some plays with his legs. He made a few throws, but when the pressure came to him, he looked like he had no poise. He didn't have any. He was not composed in that pocket, and that's because he can't read front sevens. And don't tell me he can, because if he could, there were blitzes that were picked up, and he still looked shook. He still couldn't make the throws. And that's why I made the video I made. I stand by everything I said in that video. I'm not backing down. Anyone who has a problem with it, listen. If you really feel that strongly, I can set up a StreamYard. You can hop on the panel and you can air all your grievances there. I have no problem with that. But I can't. I'm not going to shoot this guy any bail when he hasn't done anything worth shooting him bail for. I don't. I'm not one. I'm not gonna give him praise just because he's surrounded. He's in a bad situation. He's been in a bad situation as far as our offensive line since he got here. But there are things you can do as a quarterback to help your offensive line. There's things you can do to help yourself. And Daniel Jones, from what I've seen, did not do enough to help himself. I don't care how people feel. Because no one's been able to dispute any points I made. Y'all think y'all have, but you haven't. There's no points I've made that you can really dispute. And as far as the wide receivers, they're NFL wide receivers. If Daniel Jones was doing what he was supposed to do, there have been opportunities for receivers to get the dang on ball. Don't give me all these stats. I don't care about stats. We could talk about stats, sure, but you don't give me like yards of separation. All that. I don't care about all that. I look at the game, and that game needed a guy who can handle the blitz, and Daniel Jones cannot. Like I said, with this offensive line, they're rebuilding. They got Andrew Thomas. Even Andrew Thomas struggled. Like he was solid, but he had some snaps he was getting beat. It's going to happen. Dallas actually has a good front seven. This matchup was going to be a concern no matter what, which is why in a matchup like this you run the ball. Because the Giants are a way better run blocking team than they are pass blocking. I know some of those run blocks wasn't ideal, but like I said, they're a better run blocking team than pass blocking. So for everyone to be complaining about this offensive line, what did you expect coming into the season? There were going to be games. Heck, even for good offensive lines, you might have a stinker or two. I know what this offensive line is. They had issues in the interior the whole season. Carolina let us off the hook because they wanted to do some goofy nonsense and drop Brian Burns into coverage and not send guys in the middle of the defense. They didn't go at the middle of that offensive line, which they should have, and they would have won the game. Even with Baker Mayfield, who's also a bad quarterback. But for the life of me, why are y'all surprised with this offensive line? This offensive line is what it is. It's always been this way. Well, I wouldn't say always been this way. They're getting better, but I'll keep saying that the Giants have been the most injured team since 2009. Over 10 years, they've been the most injury-filled team. They can't stay healthy for whatever reason. I think some of that is the turf of in MetLife Stadium because, dear goodness, we saw what happened to Sterling Shepard. Now, Sterling Shepard also had an injury history from even without that injury. He still had the concerns, but and my prayers out to him. I hope his rehab goes well because you don't ever want to see that happen to a player, but it is what it is. The receivers are good enough that if your quarterback actually does what he's supposed to do, you can win games. This offense is not. You have enough players to win games. And no, that's not to excuse some of these guys. Some of these guys got to play better. Kenny Golladay got to play better. I'm not gonna front about that. You can't be dropping the ball when it's in your hands. He's got to play better. He's got to get himself going. But the coaching staff has to help him going. I heard no one make any complaints about this dang on coaching staff and how they call the game. All I'm hearing is the players. And yes, the players got to execute. Where's the coaches to help them? These coaches are not helping them because you know what your team is. it doesn't make sense to me, but your coaching staff is what it is. No, coaching staff. The coaching didn't do your players any favors because they thought in their infinite wisdom, 15 carries by your backs were good enough, and they weren't. This was a game your backs needed 35 plus carries because you know what your offensive line is. You know what your quarterback is. There should have been more 2 and 3 tight end sets running the ball. There wasn't. Like there are ways to help your offensive line out. And when you have an offensive line that struggles in pass protection, you know what the best way to help them? Run the ball. Run the ball. If you're going to pass the ball, your screenplays, I know you're going to have to take some shots, but we're not... Well, you guys feel free to lambaste the offensive line for their struggles. I expected it. Do they have to be better? Yes. Do the wide receivers have to be better? Yes. Because Sills, like I said, I'm not liking Sills because he'll make one play and then another play he'll just. It's like, bro, what you doing? Like he had moments like he did that in the Carolina game and I was ready to punch him in the throat. So Richie James has played well. That's not exactly ideal that Richie James has been your best guy at wideout because Kadarius Toney is suffering with his hamstring injury and you don't have Rondell Robinson. But these are NFL wide receivers. They are on this roster, which means the Giants think they're good enough to do something to put on the field. And if they're good enough to put on the field, that means they're good enough to make a play or two. So do they have to be better? Yes, but where's your quarterback? Tell me he balled out. Daniel Jones was 20 or 37. He did a lot of his damage via the run game. He made some throws, I'll give him that. But he averaged less than 10 yards of completion. And it's still the same issue. The issues from the last 2 years. They can't get the 15 plus yard plays from the passing game. I'm not saying they need to go for 60 yards like they did in opening week to start a Shepard. And not everything has to, and I know you're not going to get a bunch of 15 yards. It's because they had a few, like the catch and run with Daniel Bellinger. But can we get more than just a catch and run? Can we actually get the ball, a 15-yard completion to the receiver where the ball is 15 yards in the air from the line of scrimmage? Can we do that? It looks like I'm just going to get a lot of hate. Well, you know what? Bring it on. Bring it on. I got to steal my boy. I'm going to steal HD's. HD's intro. Don't you know I love haters? So please hate. Hate on what I'm putting out. Because I'm not going to lie about what I see. I'm not going to pretend that what I'm seeing isn't what I'm seeing. If you see it a different way, there's no problem. Say, hey, you could. If you want to be wilding out and be disrespectful, fine, do that. I'll just cook you. If you actually want to make a fair point, be like, hey, I see X, Y, and Z. I don't see it the way you see it. You should like, hey, look at some of those plays again, and you'll see what that. You see, that's a constructive way to go about it. But people ain't constructive. People just feel how they feel, and if you don't agree with them, F you. You're stupid, or you're dumb, or you're a joke. It's goofy. It is goofy. Listen, if you feel how you feel, that is fine. I don't care. But come over here, think you could say what you gonna say, like I have no sense, and think I'm not gonna say something back. Out your goddamn mind. You can run to that to whoever you got to. But this offensive line is what it is. They do need they need some more time together, yeah. But you know what? Run the ball. We have backs, because no one's disputed that part. We have the backs. Use them. And like I said, Daniel Jones, he's not the best option. I've seen Tyrod Taylor play. I've seen Daniel Jones play. Tyrod Taylor is the better quarterback. But the Giants will not start him because they put all their eggs in the Daniel Jones basket. And you know, at some point, maybe they realize he's not the guy. I heard that Brian Dable's comments. That's all well and good. I don't expect the players to throw him under the bus. They shouldn't. That's their teammate. That's their teammate. They're doing the right thing by saying what they said. The coaching staff, you know, you're with this guy. You don't want to shoot his confidence down. I understand that. I'm just giving the view of how I'm just giving my perspective, and my perspective is that he's not the guy. He's not going to be the guy. He's had problems that he's had since he's come into the league that he hasn't improved on. Did he make some good plays on Monday? Yeah, he did. But even in those plays, he looked like a deer in headlights. He went back to old habits. That's the thing. When things turn south, he reverts to his old habits, and that why you think we've been losing all these games. There's a reason I've dubbed this man Danny Hold the L Jones. Do I want him to hold the L? No, because I want to see the Giants win. I really do, but I'm not going to ignore what I see in the game. He can have all the stats and whatnot, but the winning plays, he did not make them. There were plays that were to be had, and he didn't make them. The wide receivers didn't make them. The tight ends didn't make them. The running backs didn't make them. Well, Saquon had the one run, but he needed more touches. But there was a few plays he probably could have done better with, and we know the offensive line left some out there. Defense left some out there. They really left some out there, because if they just handled their assignments, don't crash inside on cover 3. Your job is, you have outside responsibility, play to the outside. You crash inside, Tony Pollard goes for a big game. It's little things. And this is why the Giants are where they are. So, feel how you want to feel. I made my point. I stand by what I say. I'm not backing down. Like I said, if it's really an issue, I will. We can do a StreamYard. I'll drop the link. Feel free to air out all your grievances there. I got no problem. But aside from that, because until someone actually tells me something or shows me something that, hey, you know what? That point, you didn't. No, nah. Here's where you're wrong about this, and actually break it down. Until then, I ain't backing off of what I said. And you know what? I would like to be wrong about Daniel Jones. I want to be wrong about him not being the guy, because if he's the guy, that means we ain't got to search for another guy. That means we can actually build with him. That means we'll actually get somewhere. But I would love to be wrong. I'm afraid I'm going to be right about this. I've been right, and I think it's going to stay the same. So on that note, I'm out of here. Make sure you hit the like button, share the video, subscribe if you're new, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the posts. And until next time, I am Scrub Zero. I will catch you on the flip side.